I mean, the first thing is try to make everything as simple as possible. The first guys that did it, they did it on very simple machines, and they did it. I I saw a lot of folks not do it because they had complicated machinery that could not be repaired, right? So simplicity, that's first advice. Um, my second piece of advice is really embrace the randoneering mentality. It really goes a long way in doing a rando ride. This is not a race. And even if you're trying to like get your fastest time ever, it's still not a
Yeah.
race, right? You're not racing against anyone. But there's something to be said about this rondoneering idea. I consider it to be time tourism, right? So embrace that.
Yeah.
Enjoy the ride. And then I guess the last thing, and this might not be unique, but it certainly helped me, is take, like, eat something, get some rest before you abandon. Don't, like, you might say, there's absolutely no way I can go on. I can't. I know my body. I can't. Have something to eat. Take a nap. Like, I've had the privilege of meeting a lot of randoneers since PBP. And you go on these long rides and you chat with people. So I know folks that did not complete PBP in time, but they completed it. None of those people regret it.
Yeah.
Like, they were so happy to complete. I do know folks that abandoned. They regret it because they like, 3 hours later,
Completely.
I could go
Yeah.
on, right? And so who cares if you like do it in 90 hours or not? Who cares if you do it in
Yeah.
93? Like, there's still going to be the people there. There's a whole wave that's probably, if you're doing the 90-hour group, you still have those 84-hour people that are likely behind
Completely.
you. So there's going to be still people
Yeah.
cheering and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
So it's a little technical, but not too bad. But the main
Okay.
thing, have you should know where you need to be at what time, and have a best case scenario, and have a plan and have a plan B, because a lot of the time, if plan A isn't going according to plan, then it's very easy to just say to heck with it, I'm not going to try. But if you have a plan B, then that allows you to sort of reassess your goals as you're going, and it just you can really know where you are. And so the second one is really working on nutrition, which that's true of pretty much all randonneurs, is figuring
Yeah.
out your body, what agrees with your body, and what types of fuel you need to operate at your best. And there's a lot of stuff out there, but it's not gonna agree with your gut, then you're gonna have a bad time. So,
Yeah.
carry what you need with you, and um, being really being able to minimize stops, practice, getting in and out of that convenience store quickly, and making sure that the people that you're riding with are on the same page, and just being when you're doing your qualifiers, just make sure that you are just hyper focused on efficiency, because it's not about the absolute speed on the bike. You lose time when you're off the bike. So minimizing time off the bike is really the key. When I was on all of my PBPs, there was many times where I felt like I was riding very slow, and but I was riding, and keeping that forward momentum and thing to being able to do a fast PBP or a Charlie Miller.
Okay. So I think the first one for me, and none of these will be a surprise because I think they'll all kind of link back to what we had as part of this conversation. So the
Yep.
first one is train hard, then have fun. So that was our goal was like we want to be crazy fit, fit enough that we can just enjoy ourselves. So that would be
Yeah.
number one. And number two, around planning, you can plan a lot of things. So you can plan your fuel. You can look at the weather, so you can figure out like how hot it's going to be and how much you
Yeah.
should be drinking. So I would say plan that, but then also be prepared for hiccups and twists and be open to that. As I mentioned before, like the people that we met, some of them had different paces and wanted to stop at different places, and being totally open to that, I think it
Yeah.
totally enriched kind of the last part of the ride for us, and that for me was the most memorable. So again, it was plan, and then be very open to what comes up on the road. And then number three, night riding is don't be afraid of it. It's actually you can't go as fast, but it's an amazing experience.
All right, Charlie, this is the final question, okay? So, what three unique personal tips would you give someone who hasn't ridden before and is hoping to do 2027? So, with all your experience, 1200 Ks, all your riding, 2 PBPs, all boil down to avoid lines. Is that what you're going to say?
That's probably going to be part of it.
Okay, good.
So the first tip I would say is recognize that everybody is different and your riding strategy should serve you. Figure out what kind of riding experience you want to have and then build your strategy off of that. Do not blindly follow and enslave yourself to what works for other people. People are a really valuable source of ideas, yes, but I think it's a trap to pick what other people do and use them as your source of truth. I would seek out their advice and ideas, and then I would say give yourself plenty of time and space to test out what works for you and what doesn't, and put in the time to try those things on the bike well ahead of PBP.
Cool.
My second tip would be stay out of the bulge if it's practical. So there you go. There's avoiding lines. There are a million different ways to experience PBP. I think most of them benefit by staying out of the bulge. And you can have a full experience and spend the full 90 hours and have some aspect of staying out of the bulge. If your goal is to be fast, you're not going to do that in the bulge. If your goal is to taste every croissant, you can do that on your way back from Brest. So get a good pre-registration slot, maybe start in one of the earlier 90-hour waves. I wouldn't start in an 80-hour wave just for the sake of getting out of the bulge. And honestly, I don't have a lot of experience with the 84-hour things, so I won't really comment on that. But that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, I would say just be very, very careful at the start of the ride. There are just absolutely insane things that go on that you would not expect of really experienced riders. There are people from all sorts of cultures that they have different expectations and different styles of riding. Just be very careful, be hyper vigilant. You don't want your experience to, end in 2 hours with broken bones or a broken bike. So just play it smart, and that will allow you to go after the experience you want to have.